Hi, Crystal. So here we go with the voice grading. You'll have to let me know if it works well. And also, I hope you get to feeling better soon, hun, because I know how frustrating that is. So your lesson plan looks good. I like that you used the correct format, that you filled everything in at the top, thought about the time frame. By the way, I love that book, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. Very cool read to choose. So I like the fact that you dove down through the established goals and into the evidence outcomes. So what we're looking for is a lesson plan that's going to help kids write narratives by engaging and orienting the reader. So that's what I'm going to be watching for as I go through. I like your essential questions. Those are really good because I think wondering how telling a personal story, thinking about that is very relevant to a text, and so I hope that I see that actual essential question show up in your lesson plan. Your students will be able to, is nicely done, student-friendly language. You want them to define a couple pieces, then you want them to name or create narrators and characters, completing a profile list, so really manageable goals for your students. Formative assessment, listening in on the students, cold calling during partner activity, very good because that way you know whether they're getting it or whether they're not. Obviously, the summative assessment is writing since this is a writing course. I love the fact that you script pieces out, that you're thinking about how you want to speak to your students. And that you're already including some differentiation and modification, passing out the guided notes. Before I even looked at this lesson plan, I looked at some of your attachments and saw those guided notes. Very well done, very thorough. Thank you. So, starting them off with some verbal reviews on the 5 W's. Very nice. Reading out loud to them so that they have the right intonation and vocabulary as they're going through that, really good. Cueing them, like who was speaking. Remember, that's the narrator. What did he tell us? Remember, that's point of view. Really nicely done. I like that a lot. So now that you've got them scaffolded into that piece, right, you move them on to something more abstract, the context. And you give them both the dictionary definition, and then you dig deeper into that definition with affecting means, real people language. Nicely done so far. At this point, now that you're into the learning activities, I'm kind of wondering, when I think about Doug Lemov's double planning, you're bringing them back around to, okay, let's look at the story. Let's look at some emotionally laden words. When they use the word retard, that's what kids are really going to connect with that as being a painful word. You may have kids playing along with you at this point. It's an intriguing text. You're working them through some pieces. But I'm beginning to wonder if you would have kids sitting in the back of the room wondering, why am I doing this? Why am I just reading another book? If there's a point in here where you would want to tell the kids, look at what he's doing. Is he doing it well? Can we do things like this just as well as this author does? Hinting that you're going to move them towards writing, that these aren't just pieces you're asking them to think about, but they're pieces that they should be thinking about because you're going to ask them to use those pieces. So that's just kind of a thought, to really make this much more of a writing lesson instead of just a close reading lesson. Just a thought there, okay? So you have them doing a little bit of writing here. What important words or ideas did you hear that might shape the story? Turn to your partner. Oh, pardon me, that's not writing. Just turn to your partner and discuss, okay? Circulate and check for understanding. Getting the group back together. We're still doing verbal checks at this point. Students really haven't done, they did their guided notes, but again, we don't have them writing yet. You have a PowerPoint to refresh their memory on narrator's point of view, which is good because, these pieces can be tricky to remember. That's content specific information for them. When you have them model, now you have them writing and you say, we're going to fill out a narrator character profile sheet to help us begin to think about what kind of narrative story we are going to write. You know, does that pop up as a surprise to the kids? You know, are you going to get that, oh, we have to write an essay, and no, we get to write a story, and oh man, like, all right, we're already off track, right? So I wonder if there's something that you could kind of spike in your lesson plan earlier. Like, look at how well the author's doing this. Isn't that fascinating? How good writers can make us feel things, even though they're not standing right in front of us. You know, kind of building some of those intrigue pieces in there, especially with like lesson plan number 1. Okay. I like that you modeled the character profile sheet, and again, I did look at that sheet before I even started your lesson plan. Very nicely done, very thorough. Having them do some independent practice, create a narrator and 2 characters, and then you're closing. It's nice because you close the actual lesson and not just the class. Really good. Here are the things that we've learned. As a reader, do you like to know where stories might be going? You know, giving them something to kind of think about. So really well done. Really nice and thorough. I like it. I think just spiking some intrigue in there earlier about how good writers can do something for us, and that we can all strive to be good writers. But really, Crystal, nice work, babe. Talk to you later.